And then if they fail, they can go to hell for all I care. All right. So let's go to our handy dandy MyLabs Plus and pull up what we need to pull up. I will say this, I must have covered the material very well, or y'all are listening better, because I only had one email that asked for a course ID. So usually I have 5 or 6. So y'all must be following directions better. I have so many passwords, sometimes I forget my passwords. So make sure you got your outlines out, because I have no idea what do we cover in chapter 1? No, I told you to read. Look in your outlines. It says chapter 1, and then it has how many sections?
5.
All 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, let's start with 1.1. Now, a lot of you will say, "Oh, I know this stuff." 90% of you will probably say that. I really don't care, okay? I'm here to teach the person that's never seen this before. So please, just be patient. We all know that you know everything, and you know all the ins and outs of probability and statistics. But just for our purposes, keep your mouth shut, because there are people in here that don't know it. What is probability? Probability is predicting using mathematical methods. What is, I like to have this front light off, I'm sorry. What is statistics? Well, there's 2 definitions of statistics. One is gathering data. Gathering data, organizing data, and interpreting data. That is the capital S. Now, make sure you make a note. There's a capital S and a lowercase s for statistics. The uppercase S, or the capital S, is for the gathering, organizing, calculating, and interpreting data. Simple as that. Okay? Then what is the lowercase s? Well, we'll get into that a little bit later. But it stands for statistics. Again, they both have the same word. I guess you call it some kind of acronym, homonym, or whatever. I'm going to have to get up here. I can't do that. So, somewhere on this page, you're going to see, there it is. And I just told you what the definition was. And that's capital S. Capiche? Now, you can go through and memorize that, or you can just take your highlighter and highlight collecting, organizing, summarizing, and analyzing data. Doesn't have to be all bureaucratic on me. Well, that page is worthless. Population. What is a population? Population is always your larger group. Population is what you are trying to predict. If I tell you that I want to know who's in the Marlboro Club at Tri-County Tech, all right? Tri-County Tech is your population. Meaning that Easley campus, Anderson campus, Pendleton campus, Sandy Springs campus. I think we got a couple of kind of semi-campuses. I think there's an office campus down in BHP somewhere. I don't know where it is. They got a building down there that have classes in. I don't know what we used to. I don't know if we still do. But anyway, If you are a Tri-County Tech student, you are in the population. But I don't want to use Tri-County Tech because that's too many what? Students. So I decide to ask who is in the Marlboro Club at Anderson campus. That is a sample. Sample is the group used to predict for the population. So I go through and I survey everybody in the Anderson campus. I stand out there where they pass out Bibles in the morning. You know, sometimes they pass out Bibles. I stand out there and I hand out a survey, and it says, "Are you in the Marlboro Club?" And you put yes or no and then give it back to me. And I take all that data and I organize it, and it comes out to 28% of the sample group is in the Marlboro Club. So I run some numbers through, I do some more analyzing, doing the statistics. I go through and I run it through the confidence interval and I run it through the confidence level, and I spit out a margin of error and I say, okay, I can predict that 26%, I can get a 96 confidence level, that 26% of the population of Tri-County Tech students are in the Marlboro Club. And I'm using the sample from the Anderson campus. The Anderson campus is the sample. The population is all campuses. And that's what a sample of population is. Now, parameters and statistics. Now, I don't know if it's in here, but it's going to be in here. Statistics, lowercase. Now, it's a numerical sample, numerical summary of sample, descriptive statistics. Okay. Lowercase s is the variables used in the sample calculations. Usually letters. Usually letters. X bar is equal to the mean. S is equal to the standard deviation. V is equal to the variance. Okay? Those letters, now why do you need to know that? Because all the formulas are the same. The reason you need to know that is you're in a meeting. Let's say you're out of school, this is 4 or 5 years down the road, you're in a meeting, and the meeting is throwing up these letters, X bar, S, and doing it for X bar and S, and then you have mu and sigma. Well, the reason you have the regular letters and you have the Greek letters is because regular letters are telling you that's the sample mean and the sample standard deviation. The Greek letters are parameters. Write down parameters. Parameters are for the population. So, the reason you need to know that is not that it's going to affect your grade in this class, but it won't show your ignorance when you're in a meeting. That's the only reason you need to know it. So you don't show your ignorance in a meeting. So you know that that mu and that sigma is for the population versus the S and the X that is for the sample. Remember, parameter, population, they both start with a what? P. Sample, statistic, they both start with a what? S. That is a test question. So make sure you highlight that one because that's one of your first test questions. If you're lucky enough to get it, because it's real simple. And that's pretty much what those two things say right there. Make a note about descriptive statistics. Now, why do you need to know about descriptive statistics? Well, some of you may be in a major in the future where you have to take 2 or 3 statistics classes. And there is descriptive and there's inferential. Okay? And you need to know the difference. So that's one of those questions. Not only is it in the test, but does anybody in here? No, they don't, because I'll tell you, like I tell my daughter, you're going to change your major about 4 or 5 times. Oh, no, I'm not. I'm going to be this. She's on her 4th major now. And she's not even a junior yet. She's on her 4th major. Okay? You're going to change your major, but some of you may go into psychology. Okay? Which is a good field to go into as long as as long as you either be a psychiatrist or a teacher. There's about the only 2 things you can do with it. But If you take psychology, you're going to take a buttload of statistics, probability and statistics. I'm talking 4 or 5 classes. Your research, the stuff you do for your master's and your doctorate will be a buttload of statistics and probability. So that's where that comes in, where the descriptive versus inferential. Descriptive statistics consist of organizing and summarizing data. That's I guess you'd call it the mechanics. Okay? Inferentials, when you look at the calculations have already been done and you get something from it. I saw that was a yawn. We had a teacher one time that if you yawned 3 times, they threw you out of class. She got fired. I told you about that, didn't I? Along with the other bright ones we've had up here. Somebody out there? Is that locked? I'm sorry. What happens? Okay, let me tell you what happens. This little button, instead of putting a thing down here or a thing up here, they put it right where the lock button is. But when it comes back here, guess what it does? It locks. So I'm sorry about that. I'm not one of these S-holes or A-holes that lock the door. I'm not one of them. Okay? So everybody's got those. All of those pretty much are questions that you could see on a test. Inferential uses methods that take a result from a sample. Let's say that you go out and you find out that 28% of the Anderson campus is in the Marlboro Club. All right? Then I'm going to take that data, and your data, let's say you surveyed 500 people, and after 500 people you came up with this and that and this, and you've got the numbers for me. Then I take those numbers and I go into analysis with those numbers. That's inferential. I'm taking your numbers. You've already done the calculations. You've already found the mean. Now I'm going to take those numbers and I'm going to do more with it. That's what inferential is. Key word right here. I don't have my do-jigger on. Extend. Extend is the key word. And there's parameter. Parameter goes with population. Parameter is usually a Greek letter. So the first thing I would do beside that definition is put Greek letter mu, which is a backwards M, or a funny looking M with a long tail. And sigma is a little O with a pompadour on it. Okay? Thing old O with the Elvis look to it. And again, I feel like sometimes I feel like I'm going over stuff that y'all have already seen before, and I hate to go over chapters 1 and 2, but if I don't, somebody will bitch about it, and then I'll have to go to a meeting and all that, and I just don't feel like doing it. Okay, so I'm covering it the best way I can, and that is briefly. And I can't stand doing this, so we're going to get back up there. I got to turn on my whiteboard. Okay, another test question. Let me turn my whiteboard on right quick. So if you've got a book, you need to highlight this as a test question. Make sure you know the difference between qualitative and qualitative. Only thing I tell students, quality, not what? Quantity. Always remember that. If you remember quality versus quantity, you'll always remember the difference between these two. Let's say I've invented a widget. Okay? And this widget is a miracle widget. It does everything you need it to do. No, I don't want to say that. No, let's rewind. My mother makes the best chicken salad in the world. Okay? Of course, your mother makes the best so-and-so in the world too. But my mother's chicken salad is very good. And y'all think I'm kidding, but other people outside of my family have eaten it, and it is, I mean, it's marketable. You could put it in those little tubs and you could sell it. Okay? Now, let's say I decide I'm going to be a millionaire and I'm going to sell my mother's chicken salad. And I go through and I start working her like you ever seen Mr. Krabs work the jellyfish. Y'all seen that before? You know, when he takes jellyfish and makes the jelly for the... All right, that's what I do to my mother. I throw her in the kitchen and I take a whip and hit her upside the head and tell her to make chicken salad for, you know, for days. All right? When she's going to make it the way she makes it, that's what? Quality. She's only going to put out 500 tubs in a week. Okay? Well, let's say I put in, I hire 4 or 5 other mothers or fathers or whatever, and I put them in there, and I say, look, just skip the mayonnaise, just throw a little bit of mayonnaise in it. Don't cut the chicken up like you usually do. And we put out 12,000 tubs. What am I putting over what? I'm putting quantity over quality. My mother did it her way and put out 500. Well, that wasn't good enough because I'm greedy. Okay? Just like Mr. Krabs. I'm greedy. So I want more. So I throw some people in there. We don't do the chicken like we put half the chicken in there. We put more mayonnaise. We put more celery so it looks like chicken. And I put out 12,000. I put the same price on it, and I make more money. Quality over quantity. Quality is what makes up the actual the characteristics of a subject. You, blonde, brunette, redhead, brown eyes, blue eyes, green eyes. Those are qualitative characteristics. Quantitative would be how your weight, your height, your shoe size. That would be quantitative data. Capiche? I'm not Italian. I just love to say that word. Okay, next. Where's my doojicker? Oh, horse buggy. Okay, we're supposed to work.
Sorry I didn't do it this time.
What?
I didn't do it this time.
I know. Discrete and continuous. Now, this is where I have to go into a little bit of explanation. Why do you have to go into a little? Because y'all don't know the difference between discrete and continuous. Now, when I say y'all, I mean a good portion of you. Some of you think you know, but you don't. Can anybody, without looking and giving me a bureaucratic definition, tell me in layman's terms what discrete and continuous is? Okay, 5 seconds of silence means no. All right, so what is the difference? Well, remember in mathematics, you learned rational and irrational? You remember that? And you had no freaking idea what that was either, did you? Some of you did, I don't know. I'm going to give you some examples of rational numbers. Rational. 4 over 2. 3. 1/2. 1.666 with a line over it. What are all of these numbers? What do all of those numbers have in common? You can have a negative up there if you want to. Negative 5.13 with a line over it like that. What do all of those have in common? Now, you're probably not going to come up with the answer. But, anybody got any idea? I'll give y'all 5 seconds. 5 seconds of silence means I have no idea.
It's not a whole number?
I'm sorry, what?
It's not a whole number?
No, we got a whole number up there, 3. They're all, I think you got as close as you can get. I think you can call it if that's the right answer. I use a layman's term. What? Predictable. You said finite, right? Finite is a good word. That's a impress your friends word. Okay? No offense. Okay? Finite, meaning that it has a what? It has an end. You know what that next number is. Somebody tell me what 4 divided by 2 is. 2. Is there any Any doubt in your mind that 4 divided by 2 is 2? No. What about 1/2? Is there any doubt in your mind that the answer to 1/2 is 0.5? Is there another another number after 0.5? No. You know that. You'll bet $100 on it without any doubt. How about 1.66 with a bar over it? What does that mean? The next number is what? Okay, enunciate and volume. Enunciate. I had somebody leave me a voicemail this weekend. Okay. Okay, y'all people need to learn to enunciate. What does enunciate mean? Say your words clearly. Okay, so far I said, what comes after that 6? And somebody said, okay, that's like coming up to a door and going like this. Okay, come on, people, grow a spine. Beat on the dadgum door. Don't be doing. And when I ask you a question, you say 6 instead of. So what comes after 6? 6. Do you have any doubt that the next number after that bar is 6? No. If you don't have any doubt, then you're talking about a rational number. And I didn't spell it right. I spelled ratio. Ratio. There we go. What is rational? Discrete. Remember concrete. If you hit a piece of concrete, what's going to happen?
Your hand's gonna hurt.
Exactly. Why? Because that concrete does not what? Doesn't give. I have 2 or 3 bulldozers on the farm. Okay? 2. And I had one of them I bought. When I bought it, it had a problem with it. There was something under the track that wasn't right, and I had to take a welder, and there was only like 6 to 8 inches of clearance. And I had to get under there and weld up 6 to 8 inches under it and take a jack. The thing weighs 20 tons. But when I used to get up from laying on my back, my knee would hit that bulldozer. Okay, a bulldozer that weighs 20 tons is like concrete. It doesn't what? It doesn't give. Discrete. Remember concrete. It doesn't give. That means there's no doubt. Okay? Put beside discrete, count. All of y'all seen Napoleon Dynamite, right? Love that movie. I'm one of those people that die laughing during that movie. There's 2 kinds of people that watch Napoleon Dynamite. The people that roll over laughing, and the people that has this confused, what the heck am I watching? Okay? I'm one of those people that rolls over laughing. Well, what does he do to make $1 an hour? He fools with the chickens, right? All right? What would the chickens in the chicken houses, what would that be? Would that be discrete or would that be continuous? Well, discrete because you count. If you count 2,000 chickens and 3 people count 2,000 chickens, how many chickens are in that chicken house? 2,000, without a shadow of a doubt. So it's predictable. Something that you count. Remember eggs. Remember students in a classroom. If 3 people come in here and count 30 students in this classroom, then I have 30 students in this classroom, and I'll put a $100 bill on it because 3 people have counted. Counting means discrete. Discrete means predictable. It means it's finite. Finite's a good word. If discrete is finite or predictable, then what do you think continuous is?
Infinite.
Infinite or non-predictable? Irrational. Whatever. Don't know how to spell it. Okay? Irrational. The square root of 2. Pi. Now, some of you that's on the calculator drill team, you have your calculators already ready. I hope not. But anyway, y'all spin them around like a basketball in high school. Anyway. Take your calculator out and take the square root of 2 in your calculator. Some of you use your phone. I don't care. I just want you to see what. Do it on your calculator, on your computer. It doesn't matter. And take pi and hit equals. Now I'm going to write them up here. You're not going to be able to see them because they're going to be down here. But what is the square root of 2? 1 point what? Okay, enunciate in volume. Okay, then I hear nothing. 1.1 or 1.41.
4, 2,
Oh, wait a minute. 4, 2, 1,
3,
3, 5, 6, 2. $100 bill, somebody give me that next digit by the pattern. I did give you that next digit. Why? There is no what? There is no pattern. It is what? Predictable. Somebody give me pi. 3.14.
1, 5, 9, 2, 6, 5, 4.
Give me that next digit. Next digit, you can't. Now, if you and we had to do this at Clemson, we had to figure pi by hand, and you have to go through the page of calculations to get one digit. All right, I took 10, so it was about 10 or 11 pages. So, unless you did it on the calculator, you can't give me that next digit. And that is irrational. Irrational is infinite or finite. Meaning, what? You cannot, what? Predict it. So, I just put predict. The reason I use predict is because it's a layman's term. And layman's term goes over with students a whole lot better than me trying to impress you with words that I even don't understand. Okay? Now, what is an example of continuous? Well, let me give you an example. Let's say I come in here with a box, and that box has measuring devices in it. Measuring tape. One of those measuring tapes you get at Lowe's, you know, the ones y'all like to play with. And then a measuring tape that's on a reel. How many of you have carpenters in your family? Remember those carpenters measuring sticks that folded up? It's called a carpenter's rule. Okay, there's some of those in there. There's some of those that pull out, it has a digital screen because y'all can't read what? A tape measure. Okay? So it just puts it out there. And then there's yardsticks. Got some yardsticks in there. And then I got some, what else measures distances? Trying to think. I think I've named just about everything. Just different variations of measuring tools. And I tell y'all, let's see if everybody can see what I'm on. There's a fire hydrant out there anywhere? Oh, damn Russians. I gotta quit blaming the Russians because they might get offended. I'm just kidding. I thought I blame Bush, because you got to blame one of the two, because you can't blame yourself. You always got to blame other people. Y'all know that, right? Okay. All right. So, okay. See that? Everybody see that freaking light pole right there? Everybody should be able to see it right there. Okay. See the base down there? The concrete base. Okay. I tell each one of y'all to come up here, get a measuring tool, and go out there and measure the height of that concrete base. How many different measurements am I going to get? Well, if I send 30 students down there, how many measurements am I going to get?
30.
I'm going to get about 15 to 20 different measurements. And everybody's going to say, well, that's not that bad. Well, remember, some of y'all can't even read a measuring stick. Okay? Some of y'all don't know what a fraction is. All right? So y'all are just going to say, okay, 3, well, it looks like a 1 over 2. I'm just going to say 3.5 feet. Which really is 3 5/8 because you don't know how to measure with a measuring stick. Then some of y'all are going to go down there and say, oh God, this is so stupid. And you just measure from the pine needles. What is that, pine needles or, okay, mulch. You just measure from the mulch up and you get 3 1/4. And then some of y'all, that's the lazy people. And some of y'all are really detailed. Some of y'all are going to go out and y'all going to take a stick and y'all going to dig down into the dirt. Okay? Some of y'all know what I'm talking about because some of y'all like this. Okay? You're going to dig down into the dirt and you're going to find the what? You're going to find the bottom of that concrete base. And you're going to measure from that. So how many different measurements am I going to get out of 30 people? 15 to 20 different. Now, some of y'all might go down there and get the same measurement, and that's true. But the whole point is, out of the whole group, am I going to get one single measurement? No. versus counting. If I tell you to go down there, I saw that yawn. Okay, that's one. I got one on both of y'all. All right. If I tell y'all to go out there and count the light pole bases, how many different numbers am I going to get? None. I'm going to get one. Unless y'all can't count. Heck, I can count from here. Like, well, just in this, there's 1, 2, 3. I don't see one right there. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Maybe 10. I doubt very seriously that you're going to come in here with 51 or 10.5. You're going to come in here with 10. That is a very, very good test question. Make sure you make a note of it because you need to know it for later on. Okay? And now you know the difference between rational and irrational. Capisce? Comprende? I'm not Mexican either. So, a lot of people say, what the hell are you? I'm actually, you'll never guess what I am. Never. Unless you've had me for class before. Anybody want to take another guess? Cherokee? No. Ain't got a drop of Cherokee blood in it. Nope.
Italian.
Huh?
Italian.
I said I wasn't Italian because I like to use capisce.
Irish.
Irish.
That's what I was going to guess.
Yep, I'm Irish. Both sides. Okay, the milkman came in. No. You'll have to Google it. It's called Black Irish. Evidently, I got one of those dormant genes. You know one of the dormant genes? Black Irish. Black Irish? You used the word black. Google it. You'll see. All right. Because I always get that question. If you ain't Italian, if you ain't Mexican, what are you? I'm sorry, Latino. Sorry. Somebody get offended. All right, next. I just always thought people from Mexico were called what? Mexicans. Now you're not supposed to say it. People from England can't say English, I guess. Okay, what the heck? There we go. Let's see what we got here. All right, they're giving you some examples, and this is not working. Okay, that doesn't look too important. Okay, I don't know what's going on with this thing. Hold on a second. It's a conspiracy. There we go. Yep, nothing there. Next. I don't think anything's important here. Okay, you need to make a note of this. Make a note for later, like later classes, like statistics 2. Okay, you need to make a note of this. What order stuff is in. Ordinal is probably the most common for y'all. Ordinal means order. That's why it says ordinal. Versus the others. So I want you to read those definitions and just write them word for word. They have a graphic probably on the next couple of pages that'll show you, the difference. But just know that for later. Not a test question. You might see it in the homework though, but not a test question because there's a lot of. I want you to be aware of it. The main thing is make sure you make notes of the examples they give you. They're going to give you some examples, okay? And this is a good page to remember. Yeah. Gender, temperature, number of days during the past week, and letter grade. And then they give you right there. Gender is nominal because it only allows for what? Categorization. Blonde, brunette, or what? Redhead. Same thing. Temperature. Is there really 0? Is 0 degrees meaning there's no heat? Okay? So is there absolute zero there? And that's where you get into a little bit of confusion, but temperature is interval. Number of days in the past week is ratio, oral ratio. And of course, the last one is ordinal because letter grades are ordinal. Because they're in what? Order. That's it there. Okay, so that's 1.1. So the outline says, where do we go next? 1.2. Now they all saying, well, why is he telling us that? Because some of y'all have to be trained to read this outline because some of y'all don't know how to read it. So the next thing we go to is 1.2. And that's that. That's just homework questions. Oh, I got an email. Do I have to do the homework in the book? No. The only thing that you have to do anything on is where? My Labs Plus, because that's where the grade book is. Okay? Observational and experiment. Is that? Well, where'd it go? Okay, this thing is really not working. Battery's good. I'm trying to find your definition, but let's try the next page. There it is. The difference between an observational study and an experimental study is this. You ever seen these YouTube videos of people sleeping, you know, with the night camera on or whatever, night vision, and they're all green, and they flip over in the bed and that kind of stuff, sleep studies. You ever seen those? Okay, well, if you haven't, you need to go Google it and see it. All right, that is an observation. Why is it an observation? Because you're doing nothing but what? Watching. It's kind of creepy, but let me give you a non-creepy observational study. In transportation, I had to do this when I was in transportation engineering at Clemson before I became a math teacher. You have to go out and watch and count cars. Okay? Now, that's an observational study. Nowadays, they put this little rubber hose across the road. Y'all seen the little rubber hose that goes across the road? And it acts like, you remember the gas station a long time ago when you got to the gas station, this rubber hose was filled with air, and when you hit it, the air would make this clapper hit a bell and go ding, and that told the gas attendant that somebody was outside. Well, they use that concept now. Instead of counting cars, they take an air hose and put it across the road and anchor it down, and they put a counter instead of a bell. And instead of you sitting out there counting cars for the Department of Transportation, they just use that counter and divide it by 4, or divide it by 2, sorry, because it hits it 2 times, so you divide it by 2 to find out how many cars actually went over. Or really, if it's a main thoroughfare that holds trucks, then you have to throw in a ratio, like 3.5 or 6.5 or whatever, because there are trucks that go across it with more than 2 axles. The whole point is, an observational study, that would be an observational study. The observational study is not messed with. In other words, you do not affect the outcome. Those cars do not even know you're what? There. Half the time when you put that rubber hose out there, most drivers don't even know that rubber hose is there until you run over it. And you feel a little bump and you go, what was that? Versus an experiment. An experiment would be a rat in a maze. Okay? And you put cheese at 2 ends of the maze. Now, I didn't say a rat in a maze with no cheese. That would be observational. A rat in a maze and you put cheese at one end, that is an experiment. Me counting cars and putting a roadblock at each end of the road and saying no trucks allowed. That is an experimental study versus an observational study. Capiche? Okay. Two good test questions. No, I'm not going over that. But I will go over placebo. I'm not going over that. Make sure you know what a placebo is if we ever get there. I don't go over co-founding because that does nothing but confuse people. Well, anyway, somewhere there's placebo effect in your book. Census, go ahead and write census down. The only reason you need to write census down is so you know what it means. Not that you're going to use it in this class, but a census is a survey taken how many years? Every 10 years, and that's why it's called, census. I don't know, every 10 years. Census is 100, cent is 100, but I guess it's based on 100, I don't know. That would be if it was a test question, it'd be so easy that you wouldn't tell anybody if you missed it. I hope you would. Okay? That's just for your, I'm not saying it's a test question, I'm saying that it's something you need to know. If somebody runs it across you in the real world, you need to know what it is. I think we're in 1.3, right? All right, I thought that, okay, maybe it's in this section. I thought that placebo was in somewhere in here. All right, I don't want you to know simple random sample. I want you to know random sample. What is a random sample? Let's say that I take each one of your names, each one of you, and I take a Post-it note, a yellow Post-it note, and I get you to write your first name on that yellow Post-it note. And I take each one of those Post-it notes and I fold it in half. And I put each one of those Post-it notes into a fishbowl, shake the fishbowl up, and pick a name out. That's a random sample. Why is it a random sample? You're getting there. You're almost there. There's no system. I'm doing everything what? The same. They're all the same color. I fold it the same way, and I put them in a bowl. You're getting there. What else? There's nothing different done to anything. Everything's the same. But what else? This is the key word for random sample. When you see these two words or several words put together, that means random sample. Everyone has what?
Equal chance.
Equal chance. Everyone has an equal chance. Well, let's say Bubba is one of the students, and he gives me $10, and instead of folding it in half, I fold his in quarters. Is that a random sample? No. Why? Because the person that's picking the piece of paper may pick that piece because it's what? It's different. It's thicker. It's different. It's folded different. And that's where you have to think about stuff like this. Now, are you ever going to have to worry about a random sample in the real world? No, probably not. But if you are going to do research, if you are going to be a psychology person, if you are going into a field that has research in it, biology majors, environmental studies, anything like that, you've got to think of random samples. You've got to think, is everything the what? The same. Has anybody ever seen the movie, oh God, I can't think of it. It's called Thunder something, where these people can go back in time, but they can't touch anything, and they can't move anything. Why? Because it would affect the space-time continuum. All right? And this one person steps on a butterfly. Anybody ever heard of the butterfly effect? Okay, butterfly effect means if you do something in time, it messes up everything in the future. All right, that's basically, he stepped on a butterfly. Well, that butterfly was supposed to pollinate this flower. And this flower was supposed to pollinate this, and this bee was supposed to pollinate this, and then it goes on, and it affects the timeline. Well, he stepped on a daggone butterfly when he went back in time, and it turned everybody into crazy-looking people when they got back. All right? You just have to watch. I think it's called the thunder effect or something like that.
Oh, the sound of thunder?
Huh? Sound of Thunder. That's it. Thank you. All right? You know what I'm talking about now. It's a good movie, and you have to actually think. All right? So if you're a deadhead, don't watch it because you wouldn't have any idea. All right. But anyway, everybody has the same chance. There's nothing different. Let's say that I put all y'all's names behind a balloon, and I throw darts at the balloon. Would that be a simple random sample or a random sample? Yes. Now, some would argue that you would only throw in an immediate area. Well, I put all those balloons. I don't spread them out. I put them where? Inside a 3-foot circle. I tape them real close together. Then what does that mean? That means everybody's got the same chance because I'm going to throw within a 3-foot circle inaccurately. Unless you're one of these people that throw darts for life, we want to get there. Okay? That's just, you ever seen these people that, professional dart throwers? Now, what is a simple random sample? I'm going to go ahead and give you that definition of a simple random sample, only because you're going to see it and you're going to say, what the hell is that? All right? The simple random sample, instead of putting each person on a piece of paper, I'll take this group right here and call it Group A, Group B, Group C, Group D, Group E, F, G, H, I, J, and K. And I put A on a piece of paper, fold it in half. Group B, put it on a piece of paper, fold it in half. And instead of an individual, I'm picking a what? A group. That's the difference between a random sample and a simple random sample. Which one will be on the test? Random sample. Make sure you remember what words. Everyone has the same chance or equal chance. That's what you got to remember, because that'll be in the definition. Dang old SAT word, ACT word. Capiche? Do you understand? Okay, there's that. I wish they put this thing over here, but I guess I could move it, but if I moved it, it'd cause all kind of problems, and I don't want to do that. I'll do that later. Probably get toward the end of the section anyway.
124 is the bottom of page 28.
On page what?
28.
Thank you. I knew there was some smart people in here. Stratified sample. Okay, that's not right. They're supposed to be showing, they're supposed to be doing convenience sample. It's supposed to be convenience first. Not convenience, but I'm talking to myself. Just ignore me. Okay, this is getting on the nerves. All right.
A convenience sample was actually on page 32.
Okay, thank
One of
you.
the last.
They should have a list of them. It should be a graphic. I'll just go to the graphics. It's got a person hanging outside of a house. There it is. All right, turn to page 34 if you got a book. Well, no, that's not it. Hold on. That ain't what I'm looking for. Bias. Okay, let's talk about bias. Of course, I can't talk about bias without talking about polls. And what's the only example of polls that I know of? On TV and this past year, it was politics. But I can't talk about politics because that one snowflake in the room is going to complain that I talk about politics too much. So I want y'all to tell me which polls I can use. No, I'm just kidding. I don't give a crap. Because it's a snowflake. Anyway, bias. What is bias? When you see the word bias or you think of the word bias, what do you think of?
One-sided.
One-sided. Exactly. Could it be that you're, letting your feelings affect the data? Yes. That's what I mean by that. Well, let's say that you are right-wing nutjob Joe. All right? And you hate everybody. The only people you like is white people. And the only people you like besides white people is a certain person that makes a certain paycheck, a certain, number of dollars a year. Okay? Now, the reason I say that is called right-wing nut jobs are right-wing nut jobs. All right? Just like left-wing nut jobs are left-wing nut jobs. There, I gave both sides a nut job. Okay? You got extremes on both sides. All right? And he wants to run for blah, 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 blah. Well, he's going to go out and he's going to survey all the people that he likes because he wants to run for whatever office. And that's bias. Okay? Left-wing nut job did the same thing. All right? When you read a poll, you have to remember, is it done fairly? Let's say that I have and there's people that actually make livings doing polls. That's all they do. Okay? And they make a lot of money. Okay? I go out and I tell you that I surveyed people across America. I surveyed across America. And I found out that the next president is going to be James Smith. And he is a conservative. What I failed to mention is that I surveyed South Carolina, Georgia, Mississippi, Alabama, Texas, and then I shot over to Southern California. Did I go across the United States? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Yes, I did. If I walked from South Carolina to Georgia to Mississippi to Alabama to Texas to Louisiana, and then walked from Texas, my geography gets a little crazy right in there, but I think Arizona and Mexico, New Mexico, there, and then California. Did I walk across the United States? Yes, I did. But what I neglected to tell you is that those are southern states, and they're predominantly what? Conservative. So, did I give you a biased poll? Yes, I did. Okay? So, know the word bias, no coughing either. Okay? The only thing you're doing here is breathe. All right. That is 9:11. Y'all out at 9:20, so I can keep going for another 10 minutes. Thought people were leaving a while ago. Why are they getting out early? I thought y'all got out at 9:25. Am I correct?
Yes. Teachers just let people out early when they're done.
Well, I don't because somebody will complain. What's the number one rule of life? There's always what? One. I'm one of those teachers that if I do anything like that, I get in trouble. We had one. Did I tell you about the teacher that came to class with a Solo cup every morning? Red Solo cup. Red Solo cup. You know what goes in a red Solo cup. It's not coffee, all right? Every morning at Pendleton would come to class with a red Solo cup and would go to his car and fill it up at 10 o'clock between classes. If I come up here with a rum cake, I would get in trouble. I don't understand how these teachers get by with some of this stuff. I guess maybe I made my own bed, maybe I never did do any of that stuff, but he didn't last long. About the third fill up, the department head came in. This was like 2 weeks into the semester. And the students were like, this guy's going to be drunk by 5 o'clock. Because anybody that drinks in the morning, they're alcoholic anyway, I'm sorry. Now, unless you got a third shift job or something like that, I'm not talking about that. But, you know, I can't fathom drinking a red Solo cup full of liquor at 8 o'clock in the morning. I can't do that. Your liver is a pickle, all right? I'm sorry. Anyway, we have these smart people teaching, and you have them in wherever you go. There are some real dummies out there teaching. I mean, to come to class and drink in front of students, they won't smell it. Yeah, fumigate the whole room. But anyway, if I let one person go, I'll get, I'm not getting my money's worth, and I thought you might want to know. He's letting class out early, so you might want to talk to me. Go right to my department head. People like that need a life, or girlfriend, or boyfriend, or both. Sampling error. Sampling, nah. Okay, so that's 1 point what? Okay, so that's the end of chapter 1. So now everybody in here is responsible for 1.1 through what? 1.5 homework. Not that long. Okay. Now there's some things I didn't cover, and you just have to help me solve this and get your points. But the things that I covered in chapter 1, that's the things you're responsible for. Okay. Now I'm gonna try to spend as much time as I can so the one person won't complain about it. But I'm gonna go ahead and pass the sheet around. And then we can just shoot the bull for a few minutes while this goes around. And if y'all thought of any questions, you can ask me. Yeah, you can pack up your books, and thank you for asking and not being rude. No, I said I'm going to let y'all go early, so y'all ain't rude if you're packing up. Okay, these people, on the 16th, today's the 16th, right? I hope I counted right. Please sign your name right here, and we only want to do this for 2 more days, today and Thursday. And that way, if I turn in a drop or whatever, I can say, and you say, oh no, I didn't attend this class. I can show you that's what this is for. Okay? So take it and pass it around. Once you've signed this, you can leave unless you got questions for me. And I'll be glad to answer any questions if you got them. Let me turn the recorder off in case you'll ask something stupid. Nobody has any questions. Y'all may not go over this stuff so well.